Ed, what does Twilio get from Segment?
Well, what it gets in Segment is a company that takes all forms of consumer data generated from mobile apps, from emails, and also in-store generated data. It basically aggregates it, stitches it all together, and puts it onto one profile, which is kind of a value add for Twilio, right? Twilio has been one of these companies, as you guys know, it integrates and offers cloud-based communication, messaging, calling for different corporate entities. But what it's getting basically is a new revenue stream. Twilio has been a big beneficiary of the COVID bump, where all of us transitioning to working or studying at home has required companies to basically communicate and transact with their employees remotely. But it did flag at its second quarter earnings that some of that growth is now slowing as the effects of COVID dissipate. So this kind of gives it some momentum. It prevents some of that customer churn, which executives have been talking about. And it's a company in terms of Segment that's been growing at a rate of around 50% year on year and with a gross margin of around 75%. So an exciting prospect that analysts think are really going to help Twilio with its own growth story going forward.
Who doesn't want a customer like Glossier? But also IBM, Atlassian. I mean, it's got plenty of ones that it's serving. But talk to us, Ed, about like the share price reaction. We're looking at a chart now up 235% over the course of the year, but up 7% on the day. They like it.
Yeah, they like it. Look, as I said, second quarter revenue for Twilio grew by around almost 50%, but they did warn that that won't continue. And so now analysts are looking at what this acquisition means for its future path to growth. We've had two upgrades on the stock. Rosenblatt Securities raising its price target from $255 a share to $375 per share, saying that this elevates the strategic nature of customer engagement. FBN Securities, another raising of its price target to $360 a share, saying that the combined company promises to improve the customer experience. Basically, across the board, what analysts are saying is that this acquisition improves the value of what Twilio is offering, right? It will go now beyond just helping companies communicate via messaging and call platforms that are integrated into their own platforms and give them some value add, a richer picture of the customer that they're dealing with and their ability to package that data as well. There's one I really wanted to point out. Back last year when Segment raised its last private capital round, one of the VCs on the deal described Segment as, quote, a Salesforce-sized opportunity. And it was interesting to see Cowen earlier today put out a note and say that this acquisition will actually put Twilio toe-to-toe with Salesforce in these kind of customer data platform spaces, going beyond just the cloud services that they offer. And if you read what our Bloomberg intelligence colleagues have written in recent weeks and months, they really see the value add of Salesforce, the driver of Salesforce's growth, also being this customer data platform that they're offering, which of course they got through the acquisition of MuleSoft. So across the board, I think that, a lot of potential here for Twilio. They're talking about it having a moat now and some competitive advantage against some of its cloud peers.
And just real quickly here, Ed, I mean, this is obviously a stock deal. And as Caroline pointed out, a stock that's up basically has tripled this year alone. So a pretty good deal here for Twilio. It's also expected to close this deal pretty quickly, right?
Yeah, it's expected to close in the fourth quarter. Both boards have signed off on it. I know that the CEO of Segment's been speaking this morning, and they put that point to him, right? Why do a deal now? Why not wait with all of the SPAC, activity that's going on? This is a stock deal. What did you see? But the run-up in Twilio shares has been astonishing. And if you put Twilio side by side with the likes of Salesforce, you can clearly see some outperformance there, right? And there's optimism going. I think the stock's trading slightly below the average 12-month price target. But looking across the board of analyst notes this morning, they see some optimism in this deal and they see some room to run.